Yeah. Philly streets got a story to tell. Golden sun breaks the Liberty Bell. From the Trattoria to the stoop outside, feel good vibes in the city's pride.
Fuji's Philly flair, oh, it's everywhere. Good news flying like hands in the air. Hip hop grooves with a twist, so rare. Fuji's Philly flair, we're living the care.
Well, good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday, middle of the week. Happy hump day to everybody checking in. Another episode tonight of Fuji's Philly Flair. Tonight, I want to welcome a father, a mentor, a coach, a husband, a teacher, a true Philadelphia leader, a 7-time Public League champion, 12-time Coach of the Year, and one All-City champion, the 2026 Philadelphia Sports Writers Association Courage Award winner, coach from Frankford High School baseball team, Coach Juan Namnun. Juan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much for having me, and that pretty spectacular intro on that. I appreciate that.
Any day. Well, we've been back and forth with this for, the last couple weeks, and, great to have you back. We, had you back on in it's like October, November, and then we did the breast cancer show at Truly Ringo and my friend Christine. And, here you're back for, third time.
It's a treat to be on here with you, and that was that in October. That was a real treat to be on with those amazing women and for an amazing cause. So I was honored to be here. And anytime you reach out to me and say, "Hey, let's talk baseball," you're not going to get a no out of me. So thank you very much for having me.
Oh, pleasure's mine. I mean, it's you've been through a lot. You're. Like I stated in the intro, the 2026 Sports Writers Association Courage Award winner. Congratulations to you. I mean,
thank you. Yeah.
Everything you've been through, as I said, with your career. Let's dive right into it. You were right in Cherry Hill, and this was about a month ago.
Yeah. It was in January. I got a call from the president, Mike Shute, from the president of the Philadelphia Sports Writers Association, giving me the news, and it was, it's funny. I talk to a lot of people. I'm an easygoing guy. I'm lighthearted, and I'm rarely speechless. I do talk a lot. I acknowledge that. And I was speechless when he reached out to me to think that I was being honored with the 2026 Courageous Sports Person of the Year award. It was pretty spectacular to join a list of people that have won that before me.
Well, I know Channel 10, the late anchor lady's name, she talked about, you being in company with 9/11, I want to say the first responders were honored for that, and a couple other big names. And, that's, like I said, after everything you've been through, and, well-deserved for you. And,
thank you.
I know your wife and your three young men are very ecstatic, I'm sure. And,
it was pretty remarkable list of people that I share a plaque with. Charlie Manuel won it last year, and he's somebody I deeply admire. Talk about a hitting machine, a brilliant baseball mind. But yes, you mentioned the 9/11 first responders are on that list. Mickey Mantle is on that list. Just to it's surreal to have your name amongst people like that, for something so amazing. So yeah, it was a huge honor that night. It's the night itself was pretty amazing. The people I got to spend some time with, for sure.
He wanted to touch on a couple things here. A couple things you sent me. I wanted to let me pull up some pictures here. I mean,
Yeah.
you got let me show this first picture of you, Rob Thompson, the Phillies manager, and Cy Young Award winner, Cy Young Award runner-up.
Yeah.
Let me change that.
Finals.
Christopher
Soon, though.
Sanchez.
Soon.
But
Yeah, this was a very special moment that night. I had the opportunity to have some private conversations with Coach Thompson, and we continued the conversations after the event. And this was a quiet hallway, and Christopher Sanchez was incredibly kind with his time, and being a fellow Dominican, and we had some spirited conversations, and he's excited to meet my high school baseball team. So we're gonna spend some time with him a little bit once the season allows it, and for sure with Coach Thompson. We'll get into our visit with them coming up very shortly. But yeah, this was a really cool moment of the night.
And next picture here, you and Phillies manager Rob
Yeah.
Thompson.
Again, Coach Thompson was super generous with his time, and very, very kind human being. And we are planning to spend some time, I believe, with him and possibly some other members of the Philadelphia Phillies. Our high school team travels to Florida every year in the spring to get ready for our season, and it looks like our schedules were open for us. Yeah, and the Phillies are being amazingly supportive of us, and we're going to go catch them against the Braves in Clearwater. And I think post game there's going to be an opportunity to hang out and speak to Coach Thompson and perhaps some other guys. So awesome. It's going to be a pretty remarkable day, and it's a usually good week for our team.
So you'll be you're going to Florida next week, you were saying before we came on air, correct?
Yeah. So that's when we usually go for about a week right before our season starts. Right. And it just allows us to focus on each other as a team. No distractions as far as on the fields. It's just going to work for a while, and traditionally we have decent weather down there, which certainly beats what we've been dealing with at home here. So yeah, we're leaving next week for that.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Like you said, just to meet Rob Thompson again, and all your young men, interacting with a couple of the Phillies, and
what's nice about our kids, and I'm sure a lot of kids are like this, but I'm only going to speak on my guys at Frankford, is that they are they love baseball to a whole nother level. And being at a spring training game where it's a little more intimate, we're going to be able to watch these guys up close, how they operate. And that's a treat, anytime you could see the same things that you're working on one field and you're going to be watching it live right in front of you. It is going to be pretty great, a pretty good example of what to look for.
Oh, I mean, that interaction, to interact with the players like that, just how they show you the fundamentals, to do get down for a ground ball like this, get in front of it, with your body in front of it, like we're I'll share with you a quick story if it's okay. A few years back, when Freddie Freeman was still with the Atlanta Braves, when we go to Florida, we are in Orlando. That's where we do all our training. And we happen to have the ability to essentially be around the Atlanta Braves since we had access to the facility. And he was working by himself, hitting off a tee. And my high school, my Frankford Pioneers are walking by, and we were very quiet. And the one coach was like, "Hey, come on over, watch him work up close." And this was an Atlanta Braves coach.
And we got to stand maybe 20 feet from Freddie Freeman, one of the greatest left-handed hitters of modern times.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
then he started talking to our guys about what he's working on and, some of the emphasis that he's putting on his hands. Imagine being a 17-year-old kid in high school listening to this living legend up close and then watching him do it. So that's kind of what I'm excited about. We've had these moments with our guys in Florida. I could go on and tell you a million amazing stories, but that one sticks out because it was a moment where there was no cameras, there was no need for anything extra. He was just talking to our guys, and they were soaking it in. It was pretty, and that happens a lot. But I'm excited about the opportunity to spend time with our Phillies friends down there.
Not to get into like a whole long story about Freddie Freeman, but remember I want to say 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
Now don't hold me to this. I don't want to say his son had, I don't know if it was cancer.
I think his son was sick.
Yeah, his son was sick. I don't know exactly what it was, but I know, to me, Freddie Freeman seems like a very down-to-earth person, the way he comes off in interviews. And like, I think it was around maybe COVID 2020, 2021, but I know him and his wife, were just going through hell, and his son was cured or whatever it was, I forget, but I remember Bryce Harper reaching out and was reaching out constantly just to check on his son and the family and stuff like that.
Anybody that's ever had a sick family member knows how hard life can get. But I would be lying if I said I knew him personally, other than that very private, very close interaction, and he could not have been nicer to a group of high school players and myself and my assistant coaches and that. So for that moment in time, like he gained group of fans, and I still to this day am so grateful that he was that generous when he didn't have to, and he's working. That these guys are working down there. But we're big fans of him in our program because of his kindness. So absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's some of these athletes today, no matter what sport, get a bum rap, but it's guys like that, and you see
a lot of good guys out there. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you see guys, in our own city here that donate, time, go to children's hospital, whatever.
Listen, I have friends in other cities. We talk. We're lucky here. We have in all the major sports, guys on every team are amazing ambassadors for what they do. Jalen Hurts is one of the biggest stars in the NFL, and this guy's partnering with the school district of Philadelphia, making sure kids have comfortable classrooms. And Tyrese Maxey is constantly out and about, making sure that the community is taken care of. And the Philadelphia Phillies are by far one of the nicest organizations to work with all across Major League Baseball, from the head of their front office all the way down to the people that work every day in. They are kind, they are supportive of our city. We're lucky here. We do the Philadelphia Eagles as an organization, what they do with Mr. Lurie, constantly giving back. We're lucky for sure.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's not to really get in all that, but the Eagles go, not just saying, the Eagles go back to like the Ronald McDonald House, and that started, I believe, like probably in the early to mid 70s, maybe before that. But the fight with I think it was leukemia,
right?
I want to say, but
listen, from even and not, I know we weren't going to talk too much about my own personal health issues, but when they found out I had gone through my health issues, they reached out personally as an organization to check me. The Philadelphia Eagles did. And sent me a care package, had me to a game. First class all the way. First
Nice.
class all the way. So they get it. They definitely get it. Everything that they do, and the Phillies, the same thing. The Phillies,
Right.
incredibly kind when they found out about my situation, and they even talked about it on air with my blessings, which of course I said yes,
Right.
by all means, talk about it as much as possible. And they care. They are there. So yeah, absolutely, we're lucky to have these
Right.
folks in our city.
Well, I know the Phillies always did the ALS for Lou Gehrig's disease, and over the years, for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Flyers did they call it something different now, but Flyers Wives Fight for Lives Carnival for Barry Ashby, who passed of leukemia back in the 70s, which, matter of fact, they still do it every year. They just had it
Yeah,
maybe a month
yeah,
ago.
absolutely. And they definitely show out for that.
Oh, yeah.
They're very present for sure. Absolutely.
Because when I was 10, 12 years old, I mean, my mom took me to the Flyers Wives Fight
Wives
for
fight.
Lives
Yeah,
Carnival.
yeah.
But
It's a mouthful. Yeah, I'm with
yeah,
you.
I know. That's actually, I wanted to show one more picture here with
Sure.
a Philly native, ESPN anchor Kevin Nagandi.
Yeah, this was again a very special moment for me. He was being honored, obviously for his amazing work as the lead anchor at Sports Center. But we found a quiet moment to just talk about sports, and
Right.
he was, his boys met my boys, and then we talked for a while. I have some football players that are my sons are football players, and his
Right.
young boys are trying to be, and we got to spend some time together. And I think there's an opportunity maybe that we've been talking about having some further interactions down the road with some
Wow.
charitable work. But yeah, he was terrific. He was incredibly down to earth and easy to talk to. That it was a highlight. I was around a lot of amazing people that night.
I can imagine, like you were saying, being in a room, with nearly a capacity of 500 people is.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you, it was the Philadelphia Phillies had a full table, just in the crowd with some of their front office people, and it was remarkable. I mean, everywhere the Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies had a table of the guys. Oh yeah, they were all there supporting the entire event. It was
nice.
it was remarkable.
Well, I mean, when you talk about like the Flyers alumni too, or was it more like the Broad Street Bullies? Or
no, there was Flyers alumni. They were supporting Dave Schultz that who had won an award that night. And there was a few guys there from his teams.
Mm-hmm.
And they were representing him. It was a who's who of Philly sports that night.
Matter of fact, you say that, not the. I know there's an award. There's some type of thing going on. They broadcast it on WIP, but Ron Jaworski's being honored, and Dave Schultz, and I think there's somebody else coming up sometime soon. But they did mention Dave Schultz.
Yeah, okay.
As you were speaking about getting an award.
Yeah, he was there that night and gave a pretty funny speech, and it was solid. Yeah, it was a good night.
Well, and I wanted to. I know we talked about this. The two videos that I am going to show. One is Fox 29, and the other one is NBC 10. And I wanted to show them, the night that you received your award from the Sports Writers Association. Let me just.
9/11 responders and Mickey Mantle. Those are just some of the names that the Philadelphia sports writers have honored with their most courageous award over the years.
Now the pride of Frankford High School is added to that list. NBC 10's Siobhan McGurl has more on his courageous cancer journey.
I am Juan. I'm a proud breast cancer warrior, and I'm just getting started. Thank you so much.
A pack Taos cheering on a cancer survivor, a warrior, as he calls himself, Frankford High School baseball coach Juan Namnun.
At the beginning of my journey, my oncology team said, look, it's going to get really, really bad.
Juan, a married father of 3, was diagnosed with breast cancer. He faced the fight of his life.
Shock, lost. You know, you get told something that you've never even considered before.
But Juan found his reason to fight. 3 reasons, in fact.
I wanted the opportunity to throw batting practice to my guys. I love that more than anything when it comes to baseball. The other thing, I wanted to just one more time get on a golf course with my 3 sons. More than you could possibly imagine. The third one was my wife. I want to grow old with her. I want to spend my life with her and look at her in the eye and tell her I love her. Those were the 3 things that every morning when I hated the world, getting up and being in horrendous amount of pain, I would think, like, I'm going to get to swing a club one day with my sons, or I'm going to get to Coach, throw me one more, which I hate and now I love, you know, one more, Coach. So those were my 3 things.
Juan decided to use his second chance and make a difference.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 2nd annual Philadelphia Public League Coaches vs. Cancer Baseball Fest. Thank you for coming.
Creating the Coaches vs. Cancer Philly High School Baseball Fest, a tournament that includes a powerful pregame moment where players share the names of people in their lives who've been impacted by cancer.
We normally want our kids to play for each other. We want them to play for the school and our community, but that day isn't about that. They gotta play for somebody else.
All of which is why the Philadelphia sports writers honored Juan with their Most Courageous Award. His message to men specifically: if something doesn't seem right, ask for help.
I would love for somebody in the audience today to walk away saying, you know what, it's okay for me to tell somebody that I'm not okay, whether it's physical or mental or whatever. So that's kind of what my hope is.
Siobhan McGurl, NBC 10 News.
And we here at NBC 10 have been there for each of the first 2 baseball fests. And Juan tells us this year's event has even more teams. The date is April 11th in FDR Park at the Dick Allen and Richie Ashburn Fields. All funds raised go to support the American Cancer Society.
Very great interview. I don't know, just, the 3 things you talked about is, just stand out. It just shows you what you've been through. Like I said, the beautiful family that you have, and it's like you went through what you did, and you just made up your mind. You fought through it and overcame, and here you are cured. God bless you. And I admire you I take my hat off to you for.
I appreciate that.
What the hell you've been through, and just that fire, the determination that you overcame, and
I'm very grateful. Thank you for the kind words. I can tell you, I everything in that interview was genuine, and I meant it. And the truth is, when things were really, really bad, I had really either I could just shrivel up and give up, or I didn't know how to do that up to this point. I had always fought in my life to just keep moving forward. So I figured, you know what, this is just another fight that I want to try and win. And I had my reasons to keep fighting, and in my speech that night of the award, I was very vulnerable, and I explained that in my journey, my team, my medical team, we came up with a plan in that I needed some goals. I needed to strive for something, at my carrot at the end of the journey to fight for. And those were my 3. I my sons and my wife are my everything. And, being a little seasoned in life and having 3 sons that love golf is like a dream come true for me. And, I would think, man, I got to be able to get back on a golf course when this is all over, and I got to be able to spend time with them. That was one of my absolute biggest goals. And I don't know, if you've been, you're a baseball lover like I am, and
Yes, sir.
I've been coaching a long time. When you get to throw batting practice to a team and you start building a rapport with these players and you start learning just where you're supposed to throw it and how, and you watch the success of an athlete because of the constant work, it means something. And I wanted to be able to do that again. I lost that for a while physically because of all the issues that I went through with all the surgeries and the therapies. And that was one of my major goals, was to get back on a baseball field and be able to throw batting practice on our field or getting ready for a big game. And lastly was, again, I talked about her before, my wife, just she's everything. We've been together for a very long time, since freshman year of high school. And you want to be around with somebody growing old. So those were my three goals for this whole journey of mine, and they were my motivating factors.
Right. I mean, you went through, and here you are now. Thank God.
Thank you.
Healthy and
I'm almost
overcame
there. I'm getting really close to the finish line. I'm still inside the window where I still get routine scans, and I'm still under my doctor's care very closely, and I still have to take some medicine. But you know what? I'm in a good place right now, and it's the first week of our baseball season, so I'm in a very good place right now.
I know this is your sanctuary, and it's just this is your time of year, and when you touch on throwing batting practice to your guys, it's like, when you were on the show last time, it's like you talked about, not just being a coach and a mentor, but just being a father figure, seeing these guys, I believe, right, baseball's pretty much, around the calendar year, a lot, winter ball, whatever. You just getting to know these young men, and, I'm sure they talk to you about, their personal life, and you just being there, not just being the coach, but, a father figure to some, a mentor to others. Can you get into that?
Yeah. And it's not, I certainly don't want to sit here on your show and tell you I'm the only one or anything like that. I have some very close friends of mine at other high schools that we all have to wear some very different hats depending on when you're talking to our guys. I mean, we all have amazing kids at all these high schools, but with my guys, they come to me when there's issues at home. They come to me when there's issues in school. And there are times where I have to be tutor. There are times where I have to play a dad role where I got to be a little tough on them. Or, sometimes I have to be there to just support them when things aren't right. And it's so far removed from the baseball field. Baseball is just like 1% of what we go through with these guys. And like I said, it's all the coaches that are out there at many, many levels that, we're around our players a lot for many, many hours, and they're around us almost more than they're around their own families. God knows my baseball players are probably around me double the amount of time I'm around my family. So we have to balance that, and we have to be. I have to be as supportive as possible for them. Sadly, our kids, they have unique challenges in their lives where we coach in Philadelphia, and we have to acknowledge that, and we have to really, really work hard to make sure they have what they need to have some success. We have to help them. It's not even just about on the field and having success, going 3 for 4 or striking out a bunch of kids. It's getting good grades and graduating and maybe going off to college or becoming a productive citizen in our community. So yeah, there's a lot of hats that I wear, like my fellow coaches around the city, but I love it. And you build some pretty spectacular relationships with some young men that they last a lifetime. And that's probably one of my favorite things of all.
Juan, you being a Frankford graduate yourself and playing baseball and being a coach since 2008. I mean, when, we're in a couple year age difference of each other.
Sure.
Now, when we were in school, 80s, 90s, I mean, compared to today, like, to me, I just think there's more pressure on teenagers than what we had.
Sure.
I mean, you say it.
Yeah. I'm lucky. I get different perspectives on things like that. Being a dad of three sons, one is a teenager who's a high school senior, and obviously my middle son and my oldest son went through it too. But right now, times are in my opinion, a little bit more challenging. I remember sitting with my friends at the lunch tables at Frankford High School, and we would chip in and buy a daily news. And I think it was on Wednesdays, the Philadelphia Daily News, one of their main pages in the sports section was all the minor league stats. And we were scour the minor league stats just to see if we knew a guy that played in Philly, and as a player in the 90s. If you did well, your name would maybe appear in the Inquirer or the Daily News or the Northeast Times in our case. It's just a little blurb and you felt amazing. And fast forward to now, with the world of social media and the way that all sports are covered, there's so much attention on these young men that they feel the lights on them. They feel this, it's a bright spotlight on some of them, and sometimes it's overwhelming. So they're under an immense amount of stress right now.
Right.
I mean, not to go off again, but the world of recruiting as far as from high school to college, the way that is shaping up to be just unbelievable in all major sports, not just baseball, has changed dramatically in the last couple of years. I think this current group is under quite a bit of stress.
I was going to touch on another subject. I had this isn't really related to high school sports, but it is.
It's all good.
But it is about journalism.
Okay.
And I had this conversation that it was on my show last night with Philly native Miss Renee Washington. A couple of weeks ago, I believe I don't know if it was one of the Washington papers ended up just completely shutting down their sports department. And, you hear about the Athletic, which pretty much covers every major city, but, you have different writers, there's, like for Philadelphia example, you have, guys who used to write for the Daily News, the Inquirer, a couple other small outlets. And it's just like you mentioned the newspaper back in the day, but to which, what's really going to be left of journalism going forward as far as newspapers? Like it's becoming obsolete with social media.
Well, I like everything else, we all have to adapt a little bit.
Right.
It's funny. I just taught a lesson very recently. Today, I was reviewing it with one of my health classes at school, and that I asked them, like, how do you guys get your information? When I was younger, or even not that long ago, when I needed to know what was going on in the world, I would put on TV. I would wait for the news to come on, and I would sit there and listen, or I would figure out a way to go out and get a newspaper or whatever. Now, information is instant. Now, you get on your phone, you get on your tablet, you get on X, Instagram, and that's what my students are saying, is that they get all their information right away on social media. And we talked about the pros and cons of that. Obviously, the pros are that you're getting your information pretty quickly, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, the cons are that sometimes that information isn't accurate. It's not verified. And the same thing could be said for sports news. You're starting to hear, not every story is accurate towards athletes. Not every story is accurate to what, is going on with an athlete. And sadly, people have to sell what they're writing. So sometimes the stories get taken in a different direction. Yeah, get twisted. Case in point, I am not an insider. I don't want to claim to be an insider, but the whole AJ Brown situation where his name was in the news, in the sports news every night for months. And in reality, just because he's a competitor, just because he cares so much, just because, he may emote differently than others. But yeah, to your point, sadly, our sports world has to evolve in how information gets out there. I'm friends with a young kid who's climbing the ranks in the sports media. His name's Luke Arcaney. And he's a credentialed writer now, and he's doing pregame, postgame, but he has gone a different route. Corey Seidman, a local
Phillies.
Philly. Yeah, well, he started out. He's a Philly kid. His dad is a wonderful writer, by the way. But again, somebody that adjusted with the current trends and used social media and used different platforms, and just became a necessity for other media outlets to use their information. And I see a lot of amazing writers that are adjusting what they're good at to find a new path. But yeah, it's an interesting thing about newspapers and the way, sadly, they're not as prominent as they used to be.
Well, right. I mean, they're just like I said. I mean, it's you look how thin the say the daily news is, and it's what, 350, maybe $4 now, if that.
Yeah,
But it's in that. I don't buy it, but
not to sound like my dad, but when I was younger, I remember the daily news was a quarter and then 50 cents. And we would chip in, and everybody would throw in a quarter or something. We would buy one and read all the stats.
Right. Well, yeah, it would give you the box scored every game for every sport seasonal wise.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would give you the stats of whatever sport.
Yeah, it was it's a very, very changing landscape. And I hope it doesn't die. I hope, journalism as a coach is invaluable. Anytime a kid gets a little attention the right way by a person that is a quality writer is a gift. Joe Mason is a terrific example of that. He's a writer that has his whole career done an amazing job highlighting kids in the Philadelphia area, in the Northeast Philadelphia area. And, like that means something to the kids to see their name in print. I hope that doesn't go away.
Well, you're right. Hopefully journalism will stay afloat. You look at everything with Bleacher Report, and I know they have writers. You got all these small conglomerates. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Right.
They're out there. I just can't. I'm drawing a blank on here, and I'm just.
Listen, there's very talented people in all aspects of media for sure.
Oh,
what you're doing right now with a podcast is brilliant. You're good at it. So you're finding your path. There are some amazing storytellers that know how to look for a story in anything with athletics. And I hope that doesn't go away. There's so many good storylines out there. I just hope, it's not all about a 30-second click on, social media. There's something about reading a whole story.
Like you said, with podcasting, it's, not getting paid. It's a hobby. Love doing it, but
You should be.
There's the passion of it. Yes, always wanted to be a broadcaster. Just never followed through with it. But there's a fellow by the name of Tony Cotillo who has his own platform, and he actually does interviews with some high school athletes, some high school coaches like yourself. Like, he kind of within the last year, he said to me, just keep it going. I was like ready to throw in the tail, but it's the passion of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like interviewing people like yourself. Recently, like I had Miss Patty Jackson on last week.
Awesome.
Radio pioneer, and it's not always. I mean, the money would be nice, but the relationships, the people you come across, because it's not every day going to get to meet a celebrity or somebody like yourself, like from somebody big to like last like.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And it's
we don't do what we do for the money.
Right.
You
it's the experience and the journey,
the relationships that you build with people. Of course. I mean, it's the same thing for being a public school teacher in the inner city of Philadelphia and being an inner city high school baseball coach. It's the same thing. I've been, when I tell you, blessed to have some spectacular people come through my life, that you get a wedding invitation 15 years after you've coached them. You get an announcement of a baby being born from somebody you coached, 15, 20 years ago. Like that you can't put a price on that. You can't.
No, not at all.
That's nothing that you could possibly fathom how amazing that feels when you get these phone calls. One of my favorite things happens every couple years in May, where I'll get a text, a picture text from a baseball player holding a diploma at a college. That's one of my. They always say jokingly, "Coach, what can I get you from my college?" And I tell them, I don't want a hat, I don't want a T-shirt, I want a picture of you holding your diploma at graduation. And they always remember that, and they always send me that picture, and that is my currency.
That's all. Just you being a mentor, a father figure. Just
absolutely.
Like when you say 15 years later, or 4 years later of one of your young men just graduating college. Just with the little things.
Yeah,
it is. I had a question for you here for you. What does Frankford baseball culture mean to you?
Oh, family. I mean, that's an easy answer for me. We talk a lot about what a family is supposed to be for each other, and I don't mean a family as far as the structure of it. It's just what it's supposed to represent. In the one story that you've ran there, when I say I want them to play for somebody else, we build that into our program, and that we play for each other. Everything that we do is for somebody else who's standing shoulder to shoulder with me. The culture that we've grown at Frankford has always been to do it for each other, to push each other. Look, you don't always get along with your family. Sometimes you butt heads with your family, but you're always going to have your family's back. And that's really, one of my favorite things about watching. Every team has a different character. Every year there's a slightly different personality. There's different guys that grow and mature and become leaders. And that's one of my favorite things to watch, is the growth of the family dynamic. Who steps up and becomes that senior leader is a pretty spectacular thing as far as our culture.
What would you say your message to kids in Philly or wherever who you think baseball isn't in their path?
whatever you're chasing, and I have this conversation with all of my baseball players, and I'm very, very honest with them. Like right now, I think it's, the percentage of kids that go on to play college athletics is like 6%. It's in the single digits. It's a challenge.
Right.
Whatever you're chasing, whatever you're going after, just try and be the best. Compete with whatever it is that you're doing. You should always want more, not in a selfish way. We're not talking financial. I'm talking about never settling. I got one thing that I tell my baseball players is that I'll never lie to them about what I believe is best for them. And if a kid says to me, "Oh, I want to play Division I baseball," and I would be lying to him and saying, "Yeah, sure, you should be a D1 baseball player." That's not for everybody, And I have to have those hard conversations with some guys where I say, "Listen, let's focus on a different path for you, and whatever that path is, you still have to attack it the same way you attack on a baseball field." That's kind of been my advice across the board, even to my students in my classroom, in that, you're not exactly, there is no clear path for anybody, but the speed you can take, you can go full steam ahead at whatever it is you're doing.
I was going to ask you, what does Philly toughness mean to you?
There's a grit. You have to have, if you're from Philly and you are, a Philadelphian, you have this edge about you. Every time I talk to college coaches about our players, it always comes out. They always say things like, we want to add a little Philadelphia grit to our roster. We want that swagger. Kids from Philly, whether it's the public league, the Catholic league, Philadelphia kids are tough. They're very tough. They very few kids have anything handed to them. So they have this edge to them that, if you don't know any better, you think, man, that kid's got an attitude, and a lot of times it's just a competitor, somebody that's looking at you saying, I'm going to be better than you. I'm going to outplay you. I'm going to outwork you. There's a grittiness to our kids. And it's not just a Frankford thing. There's kids all over the city that are just tough human beings that have been through it, that can put that on a court or a baseball field or a football field. That is being a Philly athlete or being a Philly kid.
Juan, you playing for Frankford, going back to our time compared to, the young men today, would you say, as you were speaking on it about the toughness, was the toughness that we had coming up as opposed to today the same, or is it different?
It's tough to compare. The one thing that I've learned as I've matured as a coach and even as a man is that I refuse to say, "Oh, it was harder when I was younger," or "It's easier now," or vice versa. Times are different. There's different expectations. There's different. The world is different. Game has changed a little bit. Just things like getting information about a team, or I don't want to say analytics, but it's a different time that we're living in, so we can't expect the same thing. There are things that are significantly more challenging than they used to be. Here's a simple example. I don't know when the last time you went out and bought a quality baseball bat. A quality baseball bat, right? A quality baseball bat. You're talking about $400, $500, $600, right?
Right.
When we were younger, we would get an Easton at a local store for $40, $50, right? And everybody used it, everybody used it, and it was just the norm.
Yeah.
Now, if a kid doesn't have a quality glove, he's not going to catch a ball off a bat coming at 100 miles an hour at him.
Right.
So even that, kids are challenged by how expensive things are. It's not easy to get on a field that's been mowed and lined and dragged. times are different, and I can't say it's harder or easier. It's just different challenges that kids face these days that we didn't really face.
How do you think the public league has evolved since you became the head coach?
The city has definitely evolved in different directions. We have there's a lot of interesting dynamics where we live, where we have Philadelphia public schools, we have Philadelphia private / Catholic schools, and then we also have charter schools. And it's an interesting dynamic because families want the best for their children, so they have to find that fit of where to go. Public league sports has taken a hit because kids that are it all comes back to recruiting for college, right? Recruiting is a scary word. People want to throw that word around as far as from one school to another in high school. But a lot of times families want the best opportunity for their kids to go on to college, and that is a different path for everybody. So it's a challenging time right now for a lot of inner cities around the country where, sadly, there are different opportunities. If a kid ends up at a private or a Catholic school, if you will, or a charter school, where there may be different funding, where there's different travel and different exposure. So unfortunately, the league is faced with some tough times where students move around a little bit. There's a little turnover on coaches. Even things like umpiring is unfortunately being impacted right now because of many different reasons.
Oh, what I was going to say, I graduated from Catholic school, Father Judge, and back then, there were more Catholic high schools around. There was,
Right.
as North Catholic,
Sure,
was by Frankford, Cardinal Doherty, which both closed. There was Bishop McDevitt out in Cheltenham, and I guess the Catholic League is changed over the years, and you don't have, like how you were saying about the public schools.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Catholic League right now, and I don't want to get the numbers wrong. I think there's 16 teams in the Catholic League as far as baseball is concerned, whereas in the public league, I want to say we have 43 or 44. So naturally, the talent pool is pretty healthy in the Catholic League because there's 16 teams and quality players, and there's not that many teams. So every team is pretty competitive, which is a pretty great league. I mean, the Catholic League Red Division in football is amongst the top 3 in the entire country. And it's just a testament to what they have created. As far as the public league, you have high schools that are a mile to 2 miles from each other.
Right.
And unfortunately, kids move around a little bit more than they used to. Now that the school district has become essentially free choice, where you can literally decide where to go, it becomes a challenge. And kids, to stick with the same high school sometimes isn't as common as it used to be. So it is a changing dynamic where we are right now.
Wasn't there some schools that don't even have sports programs?
Yeah,
not every sport.
Yeah, there's a few where they don't have every sport, and there's rules for that. There's a couple local schools where they have co-ops where, if you go to our school, but we don't have this particular sport, you're allowed to play for that school because it is the next closest one, or something along those lines. That exists in Philadelphia.
I just had a comment here coming in. Coworker of mine, Cynthia Richards, saying hello. I want to thank you for checking in with us, checking in, saying hi on the show.
Yeah,
much appreciated. Juan, I wanted to get in more about the coaches for cancer coming up
Coaches
on.
versus cancer. Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry.
No.
Miss looking over here at my media assets of
Yeah.
between the videos and the.
Now let's get into that Philadelphia High School Coaches versus Cancer Baseball Fest. Absolutely.
Let me hold on one second here. I know you talked about. Well, let me pull up the. Hey, where the hell? Sorry. You know, everything behind the scenes. You know what
Yeah,
is
for sure.
I'm actually going to play the promo that you did put out.
Oh, okay. I'm not a very
As
good
the co-chairman of the Philadelphia High School Coaches versus Cancer Baseball Fest, I'm extremely excited to kick off our 3rd annual event and fundraising. This year, I am thrilled to announce that we have 12 spectacular teams from all over our city joining in our fight to crush cancer. These schools include our returning teams, Lincoln High School, Esperanza, Philadelphia, Academy Charter, Edison, String Theory, First Philadelphia, and of course, Frankford High School. We are very excited to welcome perennial powerhouses this year, Upper Dublin, St. Joe's Prep, Archbishop Carroll, and Harrodston High School. Please keep an eye out because each team will be releasing their own QR code, just like this. Every penny raised goes directly to the American Cancer Society. The 3rd annual event will be on April 11th at the Philadelphia Phillies Urban Youth Academy in FDR Park. We are so grateful for our partners in the event, Johnson, Kendall, and Johnson, and the Philadelphia Phillies. We are extremely excited to announce that this year we are also partnering with Fox Chase Cancer Center as our medical partner. We will even have their staff on site that day to help answer questions and even help set up screenings. So please consider donating to the QR code. Let's crush cancer together.
And as you talked about in the promo about the QR code, I believe you did send me a picture.
Yeah.
Let me find it here. It's right here. If you could just touch on this, being.
Sure. Thank you. No, this is one of my new passions in life. My wife and I are the co-chairman. When I was in a pretty tough spot early on in my cancer battle, my wife and I kind of came up with the idea of creating something that we could give back to the community through what we love, which is baseball. My wife is just as big a baseball fan as I am. And we wanted to put something together where our high school kids can also make an impact. So we came up with the Philadelphia Public League High School Coaches versus Cancer Fest a couple years ago. And it was a great start. We started small. And we wanted to really get all the public schools that we could to get involved. And fast forward to a couple years later, we had so much interest from teams outside of the Philadelphia Public League that I just couldn't ignore some of the amazing coaches that also wanted to join in our fight. Like you saw in that promo, St. Joe's Prep, Upper Dublin, Harrodston, Carroll. There's so many other schools that, I foresee this being a pretty great event in a couple years. I mean, it's a great event now, don't get me wrong, but we have such an amazing blend of teams this year on April 11th that our goal is to just continue to elevate our fundraising. Every single penny that is raised by every single team goes right to the American Cancer Society, which is, people may not understand this. When somebody's diagnosed with cancer and they can't go to work because of treatments or surgeries, most people simply stop earning a living. Most people, and I don't mind sharing a brief thing about my personal. When I was diagnosed, my wife actually had to end up staying home and caring for me round the clock. So she stopped getting paid. And if it's not for the folks of like the American Cancer Society, or there's another organization out there called Homers for Hope, an amazing baseball organization, there's a group that you should be highlighting at some point where they just play in baseball events just to raise money for people that need it. But the American Cancer Society needs help. They have to provide rides for people that can't afford to go to treatments. They have to provide meals, so many things that people need. Our goal on the 11th, which we're doing right now, is fundraising all the way up to that day, and we donate it all to the American Cancer Society, and then we also have a really great day of baseball on a couple pristine fields that the Philadelphia Phillies donate. They're one of our title sponsors. They are so supportive of this event from the top down. Like I was talking to you before the show, Coach Rob Thompson of the Phillies, when he learned more about our event, he just immediately said, "What can I do? How can I get involved?" John Joaquin of the Philadelphia Phillies has been one of my partners, somebody that very, very
Red Soul Line.
Right. He has always supported this event. So that has been an amazing partnership. We have another a person that is near and dear to me, Bruce White, who's with Johnson, Kendall, and Johnson. There's a Frankford alum, and he's our corporate sponsor. And they are our major partner in helping us reach our financial goals. And last but not least, and not that I'm any more excited about any of those partners, but this year, Fox Chase Cancer Center has jumped on as our medical partner, and they're actually gonna, and this isn't something that they do all the time, but they're gonna have staff members, like I said in that promo, live and in person with a screening truck, which I will say that we're not anticipating. We're not anticipating screenings happening in that moment, but what they're going to do is help people set up screenings at their facilities or at their mobile truck at a later date once everything is done. But it's all going to be there on that day. And this is really what the event is about. It's about getting information out there, awareness. I see somebody Cynthia put out there, share the link.
Let me pull that up.
Yeah. So the link is on that. Is on that flyer as well as. Yep.
Let me see where. Please share the link in the chat to share.
Yeah. Or you can just.
That's what I was going to. Now, I was going to ask you when I took it down, the QR code. Here, let me pull it up here. 1 second.
Sure.
Now, if anybody would like to donate, how can they scan the
So if
QR
anybody
code?
takes their phone out and takes a picture of that and holds their camera open to that QR code.
Right.
So here's something fun that we have created. Again, my wife and I, as the co-chairman of the event, we've challenged the 12 teams that are in this event, who can raise the most money. So each team has their own custom QR code. So when somebody holds their phone camera up to these QR codes, it'll take them to that particular team's fundraising page. The money that is donated immediately goes to the American Cancer Society, but that team gets credit for it. And, being baseball players and coaches, we're very competitive. So what's kind of nice is that John Joaquin of the Phillies, as he has along with the Phillies, they treat the winning team, the team that raises the most money, to a nice night out at a Phillies game. And it's not, the point of the day isn't who wins the baseball games. That's completely last on the list of the event. The two things are, how can we get this information out there as far as screenings? How can we get people connected with folks like Fox Chase Cancer Center? And let's raise as much money as possible for the American Cancer Society. So those are the two. And then on a personal level is I want to get information to our young athletes. Let them be able to go home and say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, have you been screened for this? Or are you aware that you have free screening opportunities at these places? Let them be information drivers. So that's what this day is all about. So yeah, anybody can click on these QR codes. We try and put them on social media all over the place. I'll be doing it up to, for the next month. And we're just trying to raise, every school is challenged to raise at least $1,000. And our goal is to give the American Cancer Society at least $15,000 or $20,000 from our event.
Yeah. I think there's one more comment. Oh.
Yeah, no.
Cynthia saying she got it. That's good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
thank you for asking about it.
As far as Fox Chase Cancer Center, I just lost a very dear friend of mine within the last month who was under, great care at Fox Chase Cancer Center. My friend Tom, just God bless him, and just wanted to acknowledge his wife Tara and his cousin Jimmy and his family. Just gone too soon. 54 years old.
Sorry for that loss, and that's the thing that we try and drive home is that cancer has it attacks everybody. It affects everybody. Right. I would strongly find it hard to believe that anybody could say, oh, cancer hasn't affected me. We've all worked with somebody or had somebody in our lives that has been impacted by cancer that we just need to continue to fight. We need to continue to try and crush cancer. That's kind of our motto, because everybody is impacted by it, so that's what our goal is.
Well, I know firsthand, God bless you. You've
thank you
come a long way, and thank God we're here. Thank God you're coming along great. A friend of mine, Christine, another friend of mine, Trayley Hill Ringo, with the double negative, and my friend Christine with the double negative. Thank God they both came out of it.
Yep.
And,
listen, here's the thing, cancer, unfortunately, used to be a death sentence for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But what we all need to start sharing is that if many cancers are treatable, if we act fast enough, if we get the right treatments fast enough, if we get to a doctor fast enough. And that's kind of what our message has been, is that we have to figure out a way to get information out there for people to know that, okay, I got this horrible news given to me. I'll never forget getting the phone call, Juan, you have cancer. And then you just got to get up and get going. And that's kind of why we try and help the American Cancer Society, so people can get to rides, to get treatments, get taken care of, and get to the other side, right? That's what this whole thing is about, is helping people get right.
Well, everybody always automatically thinks breast cancer are women, and that's not true.
No.
I mean, the average of men, what is it? 2,800 men a year get breast cancer.
About 2,800 men a year. 1 in 800 men in their lifetime will be diagnosed. And I know, listen, in the world of numbers and that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you make it, it's 2,800 families impacted every year, and then everybody that's associated with them, just like women, we can't ignore it. Even if you're a man, you can't go, oh, it's not for me. You can't. It's anybody can be impacted by it. We just have to be ready to act.
Exactly. I mean, I guess, like I stated, we both stated before, I don't think men really don't think about it, and it's
right.
Like
that's
you
what
said,
we're trying to change.
If something's not right, ask what you said. Ask about it.
Pick the phone up.
Right.
Pick the phone up. It's not that hard. Ask. Thank God my doctor took me serious. I didn't initially. That's why I'm so passionate. I made that mistake. I didn't say anything, and my wife was my saving grace. She pushed me into pick up the phone. We're calling our doctor immediately. So yeah, I mean, that's been my message since day one. Just pick up the phone, call a doctor, make an appointment.
That's simple.
Yep.
Well, I want to play one more video. I believe this will be from Fox 29.
Association awarded a Philadelphia high school baseball coach as the most courageous sports person of the year.
He's being honored for using his platform to raise awareness about male breast cancer. Our Jennifer Lee has his story from Cherry Hill.
Sports journalists, coaches, and athletes gathered for the annual Philadelphia Sports Writers Association banquet in Cherry Hill. The biggest recognition of the night going to Frankford High School's head baseball coach, Juan Namnun, after overcoming the biggest challenge of his life, surviving breast cancer.
Having a mammogram as a man was a shock to the system, followed by a biopsy.
Namnun was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2022 and is now in remission. But father of three says it was a long journey to get there.
Having a double mastectomy and being a man, having so much body removed, you know, growing up as an athlete, looking different emotionally, the toll that took on me.
Do you want a picture with your son? I would love one.
Namnun says he's honored to be named the most courageous sports person of the year. The president of the Philadelphia Sports Writers Association says Namnun is a record-setting coach who's using his platform to raise awareness and save lives. He says about 2,800 men a year are affected by breast cancer.
To think that he's gone through this and he's setting the table for others and kind of creating awareness, but also stepping up and saying, hey, it's okay. You may have this disease, you may have this diagnosis, you're not alone.
Growing up, my dad didn't complain one time, and I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And I was dead wrong. It's okay to speak up. And on the other end, I've really worked hard with some of the medical community, working them down to understand that men need to be treated equally when it comes to care.
As a breast cancer survivor, Namnun continues to make it his mission to raise awareness by sharing his story, and he's doing that now as a national ambassador with the American Cancer Society.
He has a lived experience as a breast cancer survivor, and you know, that is a disease that most men don't even think that they're susceptible to. And you know, Juan has used his voice and his platform as the winningest baseball coach here in the area to help be an example to others and encourage people to get screened.
So many men ignore it. There's such a stigma in general, and that's kind of where we're trying to make some changes. Is that we gotta start speaking up a little bit.
Namnun's family was there to celebrate with him. His youngest son, Jake, also taking his father's message to heart with plans to pursue a psychology degree in college to help others speak up when it gets hard.
It's just a testament to everything he's done, right? He's been the rock of our family for the entire time we've grown up, and we're so proud of him and everything that he's done and the message he's pushing out there. It's really incredible.
In Cherry Hill, Jennifer Lee, Fox 29 News.
No, you've been through it all. Your family's been through it all with you, and here you are.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you. All we could do is push forward, right, my friend?
Yes, sir. I don't know how you did it. You did it. You know, love, support, God, you know, carrying you through it. I believe we got one comment coming in again here. Let's see. Cynthia checking in again, saying prayers. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for checking in this evening.
Appreciate that.
Much obliged. So, Juan, we are about 22 days out from the fighting Philadelphia Phillies kicking off the 2026 campaign. And I knew, as we said, you know, before we got on here, we had to talk baseball before I let you go.
Okay.
What is your take of the Philadelphia Phillies in 2026.
Here's the thing that I think they have some pretty spectacular pieces that people don't. They're just not high on, and I get it.
Right.
Fans they want the big free agent splash. They want the next whatever. You can't ignore some of the pieces that they do have. Bryce Harper's still Bryce Harper. They have one of the best home run hitters in the entire major leagues
Mhm.
in Schwarber, obviously. Their pitching staff, their actual rotation. Yeah, I get. Zach Wheeler's coming off of pretty serious health scare. I get all that, but
Right.
from a baseball perspective, there is so much talent on this roster that you have to hope, or you almost have to understand that I think they're going to be in the mix again. I really believe that. I feel like there's so much battle tested. I get the playoff situation. Some people are frustrated about how
Mhm.
played in the playoffs. I acknowledge that. But I also believe that this team is still very talented. I still believe this team has the potential of being incredibly competitive, and that's kind of what I'm feeling, what I'm hoping for.
I think they definitely upgraded the bullpen. I think. I just think it's hopefully Aaron Nola can overcome his injuries last year in the rotation and get back to being Aaron Nola and hopefully it'll get Wheeler back. No rush. It's 162 game season.
He's a gamer. He's a
Yeah,
competitor.
big
He'll be
time.
back.
I'm sure he definitely would have been in. He was definitely in the Cy Young mix last year,
Absolutely.
along with up and coming star with Chris Sanchez. I think
You can't forget a very small addition as having Don Mattingly on your bench.
Oh, you're right.
That's a big deal. People may not realize that, but that's a
Wow.
big deal.
Well, I think it's he's been a successful manager where he's gone. Already, I think he even got Florida into the Marlins into the playoffs back in the COVID year, I believe.
Yeah.
And he really didn't have much to really work with. Because unfortunately they don't spend no money. And but a great one of my favorites, like yours of all time, Donnie Baseball. And it's just that knowledge he brings to that bench.
Yes, correct. That composure,
Right.
having a relationship with Thompson, from the
Right.
Yankees. That's important.
It's unfortunate he never has won a World Series, but it's
You never know. You never know.
all right. As a player, but he's knocked on the doorstep, with the Dodgers and all. And like you said, I think it's a great. I think a lot of people really aren't really touching on that with Don Mattingly.
Sure.
With knowledge and his experience of being a player and a manager.
There is a lot of expertise on that bench right now, and that's a great thing.
Oh yeah, he, especially what he brings to the table, and I just think Bryce is going to play with a chip on his shoulder, which he first couple games he's like already out of the chute, or it's spring training, but if you can get a healthy Bryce Harper, maybe
he is dangerous.
Maybe he's he could put up those Kyle Schwarber numbers along with when he's healthy. So it'll be interesting, but spring's around the corner.
I'm a believer.
Baseball's got a mercy on Tug. Like Tug said, you got to believe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you.
And I appreciate you coming on, and just is there any way like I could help share the QR code out?
Yeah, I mean, you have it available to you.
Okay.
The more you post it and share it, the more people see it.
Right.
It just needs to get out there, and the information that's on that flyer, the more it gets, reshared and reposted, the more eyes will see it, and hopefully get involved.
Well, if you post it, actually, I know Lena's on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know if she could tag me in it or.
Yeah, sure. Well, we have different. We put it everywhere as much as possible.
Okay.
We're going to continue to do so.
I mean, you're more than welcome to tag me in at my name or Fuji's Philly Flair.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
I appreciate you having me on tonight. It means a lot.
Oh, I mean, if there's anything I can do, to help, like I said, I plan on being down there. Hopefully I could
keep talking about it.
Doing a show down there and, just getting the word out there.
I'm grateful for that. Thank you so very much for having me on tonight.
Thank you, for, wanting to come on, and, congratulations on your award.
Thanks.
And, you, like I said, mentor, warrior, father figure, husband, coach, you
appreciate it.
Anytime. I want to
go Phils, and thank you.
Know where to find me. Now, while I'm working, everybody find you on your social media platforms.
Oh gosh, man, let me see. I'm on X. I'm on Instagram. You're welcome to reach out. I usually post only happy stuff, baseball. Obviously, coaches versus cancer stuff, and an occasional Disney, because I'm a Disney nut with my wife. But
nice.
Yeah, I'm on X. I'm on Facebook. My wife is on Facebook, and we have Friends of Frankford Baseball. Some people run that account. So yeah, we're
on Facebook. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're on Instagram, Facebook, and X.
Okay.
Yep. But thank you for that.
Hey, I'm always here to promote and,
yeah,
have
awesome.
You on.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you.
Anytime. Want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank everybody thank Cynthia for checking in and asking, commenting. I want to thank everybody for tuning it in and sharing it out. Appreciate it. We are like a month and a week till Saturday, April 11th. So make sure you click on that QR code, donate anything you're able to, and
yep.
It's much appreciated. Like I said, I'm going to help you out in any way.
It all helps.
But I want to thank everybody. Juan, appreciate you taking
Thank you
time.
So very much.
I want to thank everybody. As I always say, as my colleague Ryan F. always says, you never know what somebody is going through today mentally. Check on somebody. Because reach out to a friend, a family member, because we're all going through something today, and mental health awareness is very strong, especially in these times today. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Fuji's Philly Flair. Everybody have a good night, a good week. Get out, enjoy the weather this weekend. Good night.
Good night.
And I'm going to take everybody out. Everybody have a good night. God bless and be safe.
Yeah. Philly streets got a story to tell. Golden sun breaks the Liberty Bell. From the Trattoria to the stoop outside, feel good vibes in the city's pride.
Fuji's Philly Flair, oh, it's everywhere. Good news flying like hands in the air. Hip hop grooves with a twist so rare. Fuji's Philly Flair.